Hey, welcome back to my YouTube channel, Cruising Out of Sight. My brother and I recently took a cruise on Royal Caribbean's Liberty of the Seas out of Cape Liberty, New Jersey, with stops in New England and the Canada Maritimes. We had a fantastic time on this trip and we thought we'd share it with you. So take a look. Hey, just a quick note, you may have already noticed this video looks a little goofy. This is in 360 format, this video, so it makes the 2D format look a little silly. But definitely like to share that 360 video with you guys. You can sweep all the way around, you can look up, you can look down. You can see everything that we saw on the portions that I recorded with my 360 camera. So hopefully you enjoy, hopefully this goofy frame in the 2D format doesn't bother you too much.
My younger brother and I took this cruise out of Cape Liberty, New Jersey, with stops in Boston, Portland, Maine, Bar Harbor, Maine, Halifax, Nova Scotia, and St. John's, New Brunswick. It was scheduled to be quite a port-intensive cruise with stops only between New Jersey and Boston, and then between St. John's and the return to New Jersey. Those plans would be a little upended by a hurricane that was making its way north, but we'll talk a little bit more about that as we get towards the end of the cruise. My brother and I grew up in the greater Boston area, so we're very familiar with New England, having been to Portland and Bar Harbor previously, but neither one of us had been to St. John's or Halifax. We had scheduled a family trip to Nova Scotia one time, but ended up in Prince Edward Island instead. I don't quite remember why. I am quite the amateur photographer slash videographer. I completely forgot to bring my 360 camera with us when we were in Boston. My brother and I got off of the ship and then walked from the port to South Station, which was about a 1.5 mile walk or so. A little bit of a twisting, turning route to get to South Station, but we found it. From there, we took the T to Park Street. We got off there and then walked through Boston Commons. We walked up, Boylston Street from the Commons to the Prudential Center. Walked through the shopping area at the Prudential Center. Grabbed some Dunkin' Donuts. That's a necessity if you're in the New England area to get Dunkin' Donuts. And then we walked from there past the Church of Christ Scientist towards Symphony Hall, which is my old stomping grounds. Just past Symphony Hall is Northeastern University, where I went to college for a year. And then we snagged the T at Symphony and made our way back to South Station and then walked back to the ship. Really long walk. We walked about almost 10 miles that day, but we had a fantastic time. The weather wasn't great. It was partly cloudy, actually mostly cloudy, I suppose. And but that was nice. I mean, we didn't get sunburnt or anything. Kept the sun from being too hot. We just had a really nice time walking and talking and enjoying the views. I hadn't been back to Boston in about 8 years prior to that, so it was nice to be back. From Boston, it was just a quick overnight hop to Portland, Maine.
Hearts would flow out of the mouth.
Yeah. I thought it was pretty neat. They had a guy playing an acoustic guitar at the end of the little walkway there. He was really raking in the tips. Pretty decent singer and player.
Good morning, welcome to Portland.
Walk down on a chair in the sand by the sea. Wanna look through my shades and see you close to me. So got life for a while and lay it back. Good morning, everybody. No boss, no problem, no stress, no dress code. Good morning. Thank you. No shoes, no shirt. No problem. Welcome to Portland. Thank you. No shoes, no shirt, no problem. Have fun today. No problem. It's gonna be a gray day today. Little gray. We can handle it, right? We can handle it. Have fun, fellas. Get your picture taken with the ship in the background. We got a professional photographer from the ship right here. Make your friends jealous. When you get home, show them a picture. They'll be like, why didn't I go on the Liberty of the Seas? How you doing? Welcome to Portland. It's going to be a beautiful 55 degree gray day today. We can handle it, right? Get your picture taken with the ship in the background. Why not? Beautiful, beautiful picture.
This building to our left right here is a really nice visitors center, and they offer maps and advice on the area. Really neat way to enter the port, get that information right off the bat.
Filter into this park.
We decided to walk down into this park so we could get a nice panoramic view of the ship. As you can see, the weather was quite overcast today. It was actually kind of spitting just a little bit, but it went back to just being overcast and kind of, I don't know, damp, cold feel to the day. But that was okay. We were jumping on a hop-on, hop-off bus to do some touring around, so the weather was really just fine with me.
Video will show the ship in all its glory.
I don't generally take a lot of video during my excursions, so don't expect a whole lot from this video. It's more to just give a taste of the area. But we hopped on to the tour bus. They took us all around, told us some really interesting historical stuff about the founding of the town and the various famous people that live there, past and present. They ended up dropping us off for about 30 minutes at the lighthouse up here. So enjoy the view. I absolutely love the water crashing against the rocks. The lighthouse up behind us is called Portland Head Light. It's on the site of an old World War II training grounds. Really neat area, complete with the concrete footings for big guns that protected the harbor here when they were building Liberty ships in World War II.
Yeah, the water. At least this section right in front of them. It doesn't have any water up in it now. It's like wet, but yeah, it gets up there with high tide. We gotta go up in there, but it's there at the bright light. Imagine way back in the day when they had to maintain the flame, all that. Yeah, yeah.
This was just one stop on our tour bus ride. The tour was really interesting. We had a really funny tour guide slash driver, and he drove us all around the town. Some really interesting facts about the town burning down, it being renamed multiple different times, the history of shipbuilding here, a lot of information about like poets and celebrities that have lived here in the past. It was just really interesting. I highly recommend the Portland bus tour.
I would love to see that type of wave action. Yeah, this is, massive waves. Some of that coastline, just massive stuff. That's what I want to see.
This is just another vantage point a little further down the bay. A short little walk down from the lighthouse. I don't know why I'm so mesmerized by the waves crashing on the rocks, but if I like them, you're going to learn to like them. Funny little story at the end of the tour, he passed around this little metal thing around the bus and he said, whoever guesses what this is used for gets a prize. Gets a fantastic prize, I think is what he said. So my brother and I were sitting in like the second row behind him. So we were pretty early on in getting to guess what it was. My brother guessed something similar to what it was. And then when I got it, I knew what it was, especially based off of the clue that my brother had given me. So I shouted out what it was. I won't say here in case you guys take the tour and get posed the same question. But the prize was this can of beans, which was really funny. It's kind of an inside joke in my family, cans of beans, kind of like Popeye with his spinach. But this was my prize. I thought it was pretty funny. From Portland, it was just a quick overnight cruise to Bar Harbor, Maine the next day. Jumping to the next day, this is the tender ride from Bar Harbor, Maine to the ship. The ride from the ship to the port was so foggy that I didn't even bother sharing the video. It's pretty foggy now too, but just wanted to get a little taste of the weather and the sights we saw. We didn't do a whole lot in Bar Harbor. We walked around just a little bit to get a taste of the town, and then we bought some trinkets at one single shop, walked through the little park right by the dock area, and then headed right back to the ship. There were at least one other cruise ship out here with us, and you could hear our ships blowing their giant horns every now and then. I'm guessing they do it when it's foggy like this just to make sure that small craft don't bump into them. From there, it was just another overnight hop to Halifax, Nova Scotia. Here, my brother and I had taken a hop-on, hop-off bus tour, which was right outside of the little shopping area. that was right as you got off the ship at the dock. Really easy to find. So we hopped off that bus and took a ride around. The only stop we got off to sightsee was at the Fairview Lawn Cemetery, where there are a little over 100 grave sites from the Titanic victims. You can see from the puddles on the ground and of course the gray dreary sky that today was another overcast, kind of foggy day, but we had a great time anyhow. I thought that this graveyard was really interesting. My youngest daughter would have loved to come here and see the Titanic grave sites. She's a huge Titanic aficionado and has been to quite a few of the Titanic museums, so she would have eaten this up. The area with the Titanic graves is a straight shot into the cemetery. Nice easy walk. There's a bunch of plaques that you can read to understand the history, and then it's just a really short walk up this gravel path to the grave sites.
Halifax and RMS Titanic.
I was really impressed that the grave sites were kind of whitewashed so you could easily read the inscriptions.
Which one? April 15th, 1912 on every single one. Yeah. I've read through the list that they have published before. A to Z. These are angled towards the outside, which is interesting. Huh. Caitlin would love this. The memorial. Ernest Edward Samuel Freeman, last surviving son of Captain S.W. Kearney Freeman, R.N., husband of Laura Mary Janet Freeman, lost in the Titanic disaster, April 15th. He remained at his post of duty.
Oh, he was a crew member?
Yeah, seeking to save others, regardless of his own life, and went down with the ship. This is 239.
So I wonder if there's graves that don't have bodies that are just memorials, yeah. And here's just a quick shot of us on the hop-on, hop-off bus with some narration from the tour guide. Here we are back on the hop-on, hop-off bus, starting with a different tour guide, different bus. I was hoping to catch it on video, but the lady didn't do it again while I was recording. But people were talking in fairly hushed tones, and you can hear the tour guide has a plenty loud voice. But this lady diagonally behind us kept like aggressively shushing everybody. It was really funny, to me anyhow. Unfortunately, she didn't do it again. The next stop we got off was Halifax Central Common Park, which is a really beautiful park with all kinds of different trees and flowers and really nice manicured lawns. Very interesting. We got off here For an alternative reason, though, we wanted to go to a King of Donair to try a Donair. If you've never heard of it, a Donair is like a gyro, but lined with bacon on the between the pita and the regular meat, and then it's got like a sweet cream sauce instead of the yogurt-based sauce that you'd normally find in a gyro. But it's got the grilled vegetables and stuff in there as well, your choice of meats. We wanted to go find one, and this stop was the closest stop we saw to a King of Donair location.
You're gonna break the lens. The lens is all busted. I think my phone gave up on telling me where to go. Yeah. You guys don't listen to anything anyhow. Yeah. Why should I even bother? It wasn't 10 o'clock when we were at the terminal. No. Why are people following us coffee? Can't get away from them. Who's that way?
I believe we can keep cutting through here to get that direction if that's the way we're going.
No, it was 11 o'clock.
Oh. What time is it now?
11:23. Oh. So we don't have that much longer.
Yeah.
We need to get back.
We gotta get the King of Donair.
Well, if that's the case, we need to head like completely opposite direction.
Okay. Let's do it.
Why is this path so sandy?
We actually ended up taking an Uber to the King of Donair. It was a little further than we thought, and we didn't have a ton of time before we needed to get back on the ship. So we took the Uber, grabbed our Donair at this place right here, and absolutely loved it. I highly recommend if you get a chance to try one. That night, the captain made an announcement that he was going to alter our itinerary due to a hurricane coming up just off of the east coast of the United States. It was heading straight north, straight for Halifax. So he announced that we were going to skip St. John's the next day and instead go around the hurricane and go into port a day early. So we were going to sit there at port at Cape Liberty for an extra day, and we had the choice to either disembark as soon as we got into port or just to stay on the ship like it was a sea day and then disembark the next day as the regular plan was. So the next day was a sea day, which we enjoyed by just wandering around the ship and doing our normal thing. The next morning, though, was kind of special. We were coming under the Verrazano Bridge at about 5 a.m. So we got up at about 4:30 a.m. and made our way up to the helipad and joined a bunch of other cruisers up there who wanted to see us go under the bridge. So I'll let you enjoy that. Definitely stick around for when we go under the bridge and the captain lets out a long horn blast. Really cool. clouds up above the bridge here. Verrazano?
I think it's the trailer.
Yeah. I'll be interested to see Oasis drop its smokestacks to go into there. From the upper decks, I bet you it looks like you're just gonna crash right into it.
What a fantastic cruise we had on Liberty of the Seas. This was my second time on Liberty of the Seas. The first time we had taken it a couple years ago out of Miami on a 7-night cruise, my wife and I. This one was a little different speed. Really enjoyed spending time with my brother. Him and I hadn't really spent any time together in the last 7 or 8 years. And just had a nice low-key time. You know, we didn't do anything too exciting, but just had a good time spending time with each other, talking about old times, talking about each other's families, that kind of thing. So had a really good time. There were some highlights. I think Halifax was really neat. Really love those Donairs. I can't get over how good those were, and can't wait to have another one. The excursions we took were just interesting. You know, nothing, like I say, nothing mind-blowing or exciting by any means. But glad you stuck with me. Glad you shared this trip with us, and got a little taste for what this type of itinerary, looks like. The weather wasn't great, but again, we had a good time. It didn't matter to us. We were on a side to side. We were doing Oasis of the Seas the very next day, and we headed down to the Bahamas, where we had much better weather. So that was nice to get the northern climate and then the southern climate as well, all within a 17 or 18-day span. So if you enjoyed that, please slap a like on there. If you haven't done so already, if you would subscribe to my channel, you get to see more super exciting content like this. So do that if you want. Hope to see you next time. Thanks for watching.